Welcome to Between State Lines.
Right, we are back. Episode 4 of Between State Lines. This is our 4th episode. Like it's a month going on now. That's wild.
That is wild. It's exciting. But also
So,
sorry.
so after last week, I told you I was going to go check out the Denver airport painting. Of course, I think the universe knew I was going to do that because I looked it up and it's closed for renovation. So you can't see the painting. It's blocked off. I guess it's in a terminal. They're redoing that section, so it's kind of mysterious, but like maybe they heard me talking about it. Yeah, likely story. But after I went to Denver, I went to Yellowstone for a camping trip, and I don't know if you've ever driven through the canyons out there, out in
No, I almost
Yellowstone. No,
moved out there.
really.
Yeah, to go work at Yellowstone when I was like 18, 19. I don't know what the cat's problem is. I think she just wants to participate today, but sorry about that. Yeah, 18, 19. I had a bunch of friends that wanted to go work out in Yellowstone because they'd like lodge you and pay you. And they're like, it's going to be an adventure. And I chickened out like probably a month before everybody went. I was like, I can't do it. So are you going to tell me why I didn't do that? In a different timeline, I probably did.
You probably did. You probably got eaten by a bear in another timeline, which we saw bears out there, by the way. They are real. They're not like birds, they're real. Um,
You saw real
yeah,
bears not at the zoo.
I saw a real bear. So I went out to so we had this plan to what I thought was a hike where the bears actually like hang out, and apparently it's a drive, which is better than a hike. So I was like, oh, if we're going on a hike, we're like kind of like bringing them a snack. Like not
Yeah,
only are we bringing them ourselves, we're bringing them a packed lunch to eat after they eat us.
yeah, that's like the trail mix.
Yeah, exactly, like trail mix. And then, but the crazy part is like they go on the road. Like they just walk across the road, and they're like bison that hang out, and like you're supposed to stay 100 feet away from the bison, and people aren't doing that. They're getting out of their cars, taking selfies in like 25 feet. I'm like, you guys are really dumb. But I hope you get gored so I can take a picture and have it for my mementos.
Terrifying. Yeah, I've heard all the stories about the bison. I can't believe I haven't heard more stories about the bears just walking. Do they come up to your windows?
If you get close enough, yeah. You can like if they're crossing the road and you're right there, they don't care. They just will go. They'll fight you in the car.
Nightmares. Nightmares.
Nightmare
Don't they feel like
fuels.
they're really smart? Like they could figure out how to get in your car. It was not that much force to probably get in your car. I don't like this. And you've done this?
Yeah, I we did this. Yeah, they were right there, and I got pictures. I stayed far enough away. I'm not dumb, but I got pictures I can send you. But um, that was crazy. But the craziest part is in the canyons before you get to the bears and the bisons. It is so surreal to me how humongous these mountains are, and you're standing on the side of the road, and you're just like this tiny little speck, and it just feels so surreal. And I'll send you a picture I took, looking
Please
down
do.
at Jackson Hole. But um, and you're looking down at Jackson Hole, and it's just the craziest point of view.
I've been to the Grand Canyon, but
There
I
you
was at
are.
the top of the canyon, so I can't imagine being that small in the canyon. It's like when you look out at the stars and you're like, I am just on a big rock spinning through space.
Yeah, yeah. It's wild, and I felt like I was standing there. We pull over
Yeah,
to get pictures.
it looks fake. That was one thing
Wow.
that I remember from the Grand Canyon is that we were right by the gift shop, and they talk about how many people have died there. There's like a book about it too, like the deaths of the Grand Canyon. And I can imagine how like discombobulating that is because it looks fake. Like it like this does. It looks so beautiful. It looks fake.
Exactly. You're like, this is not real. And no one
Yeah.
else, like, I'm the only person that actually thought it was like crazy. I grew up on the East Coast, not living in canyons, so I was like, I mean, this is never gonna get old to me. This, seeing this stuff.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like, we live in the Pacific Northwest is beautiful. And so I mean, I'll never get over that, but it's not like this. It's not where you feel like you are so tiny compared to this like beautiful landscape. You can only see so far over here. First of all, we're always on fire.
Yes, and then you said not to smoke because it's really smoky out here. Thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah, it's always smoky. Like the Bend area feels like it's always on fire. The last time I went hiking, everybody who was hiking up the trail was like, "This is the clearest it's ever been." And within 4 days, I think it was up in flames. Like, okay, well, there's no clear views out there anymore. We all jinxed it.
um, but so yeah, that was crazy. But driving back, obviously, it's a very long drive from where I live, and so I had plenty of time to kind of think about today's episode. And what got me thinking about it was basically driving through these canyons in the middle of the night. So, we got home midnight last night, so like 10 p.m. I'm driving through. I can't see on either side of me, like on the sides of the road. It's just like a cliff. So like that was freaky as hell. So it kind of got me thinking like we should talk about ghosts this week. I was hoping to see a hitchhiker on the side of the road, but did not.
You were hoping to? Were you with your family?
I was, but that
So
I utilize my friend's logic where the car is full, no one can get in. And
so
I
far
had flashlights for camping.
that has 100% success rate. I mean, we can go with that theory. It seems like if you have your car completely full, ghosts can't fit. Where are they going to go?
That's that they cannot fit. Um, so while I didn't see any, no, you wished I had seen a ghost last week in my hotel room. I know you told me post recording that you hoped I saw somebody. I didn't see anything, so suck it.
I hope this is a stay safe. I hope you don't see anybody, but I think it's the way I said it.
It's funny though. On a side note, we were camping and um, there was really nowhere for me to sleep that was like comfy, and I'm a side sleeper, so I was like, I want to sleep on my back and intentionally give myself sleep paralysis. Didn't happen. Nothing happened. I slept fine, like a baby.
There's still time. You got to run like a couple more times.
So, yeah, well, I didn't see any ghosts last week. I did do a lot of research into haunted places and ghost stories. And the first one I want to talk about, and it's a personal favorite of mine from when I was a kid, is the ghost of Willard Library, aka the Gray Lady. And this is out of Evansville, Indiana.
Okay, I haven't heard this one.
This is pretty crazy. And it's crazier towards the end. It's a little backstory. In 1876, real estate mogul Willard Willard Carpenter um, wanted to build a library, and he decided to use all his money for it. And then he died and left all his money to the library project he built. Of course, that pissed off all of his family, and they all were upset. And his daughter, Louise Carpenter, sued him to get his inheritance, or sued him, he's dead, sued his estate to get the inheritance. However, that flat out failed, and the library got the money, finished the library, and then she died like 30 years later. Um, this is where the haunting takes place. So in 1937, a janitor who was working in this library was doing his rounds early in the morning. And he worked alone, of course, it's nighttime. Uh, and around 3 a.m., he strolled down the basement stairs, down a small corridor, and began to head towards the furnace. Then a veiled woman wearing gray appeared before him. Freaked out, he dropped his light, and when he went to retrieve it, she was gone. Looked up, grabbed his light, looked up, and she was gone. So he fled and pretty much quit like that day after that. Because he was freaked the hell out.
Yeah, seems fair.
And then right after, yeah, I wouldn't stay there. Hell no, screw that. not going in the basement. Um, and then soon after, other patrons and other people who worked there also saw this great lady, and they would see her wandering the halls with books, other times on the stairway, and in the most terrifying cases, she appeared in the elevator. Where if you're in there, you obviously had no escape. You're screwed. You're done. You're in there with her for your entire ride. Um, and then nowadays, she's seen turning faucets on and off, making lights flicker, and mis-shelving books. So she's a little trickster.
She's a little bit of a nightmare to your neighborhood librarian. I hope the elevator's
Oh,
quick.
well, it's 2 floors, so hopefully it's not a slow elevator.
That makes it a little bit better.
I think if I was a ghost, I would be that kind of a ghost, like mischievous. Like I would put my dishes in the bathtub, like put the food on the roof, like do things that would like mess with you unless I was mad at you.
I mean, yeah, I feel like then we would know that you exist. I know at my household, we've had a couple of strange things happening in the last couple of weeks, but they've all been helpful things. And so the first time it happened, I was like, Grandma? And then my uncle was just laughing at me. And then the next time it happened, he was like, I just don't think that you can get mad about a ghost that's helping you out. And I was like, okay, you know what? That's fair. I guess, like, thank you, Grandma. And then later on, it was like, if some like messed up things happen, it's probably Grandpa being like, what the hell? Like, I've been helping you guys out. I get no credit for anything.
Yeah, I'll take a helpful ghost over a terrifying ghost, a poltergeist any day of the week. Um, but so the part that I think you'll find crazy is that ever since I think 2003 or 2002, this library has had a live webcam online that you can view even now. I looked it up today; it's still active. Of every single room in their building, a live feed 24/7. Anytime at night, you can look it up and watch it, which is crazy. I did that so much as a kid. Like I watched it for like hours as a kid.
Did you catch anything?
I never did. I never caught it. It would freak me the hell out. Like I would think. So like now you can like switch cameras manually yourself, but back then it was like an automatic um cycle, and so I would always expect like I would turn to like the basement stairs and see a ghost, hanging out there, but never saw anything at all.
Man, even just like watching the books, like, okay, which ones is she going to mix up tonight? I'm interested, but
You see
also
like
terrified. If I saw that move around, it stressed me out. Especially,
you see a
I
little.
don't know what kind of how can is the internet like or a Wi-Fi just a fast track? She can just you're welcoming into your home, like, are my books gonna be rearranged tonight? Oh no, I'll give it a
That
try.
was that was my thought when I was a kid. I was like, if I watch this camera, is she gonna come through the camera and like hang out with like Clayton and like there were two ghosts and maybe they'll fall in love and make ghost babies and then I'll have to deal with that.
Does it work like that though? Do you think there are ghost babies? I felt like if they're like children, it's not ghosts, it's demonic.
It's true. Although I don't know. There could be like a way to have ghost. Maybe there's like a ghost reproduction process where they can have offspring and like, you know, they just like turn out to be fully functioning adults
Well, so
right
then
away.
is there a ghost adoption agency? Can we adopt ghost children? You can come hang out here. You didn't do anything wrong. Just come hang out. We'll take care of you. When you're a full-fledged ghost, I need you to go out into the world and cause your menacing. Not here. I took good care of you. What do you say?
I would sign up for that.
I was gonna say
If
how
they can
many?
contribute to my household, I'll do it.
That's fair. That's fair. I would take up to two ghost children. And at that point, 4 kids is just like 2 regular kids, 2 ghost children. That's all I got. Hopefully they get along very well. They like the same things. Can imagine the ghost child like not getting enough attention, just unplugs the Wi-Fi, and then my son's tablet goes off, and man, I don't know. I'm having regrets already. Did think this through.
All hell break loose.
Yeah,
but
sounds like it.
but you could also like teach them to compete in like the Ghost Olympics. Like maybe there's a Ghost Olympics. You can make money off of that. Maybe.
That's true. I mean, I know that my kids
Right.
aren't going to do professional sports or anything like that. Like I don't see that for them. Maybe. Actually, they can prove me wrong. I'm sorry I said that, you guys. And now that it's on the internet and recorded. But the ghost children.
They hear us. Or I think we're thinking pretty shallow here. We can also teach them to like go mess up sporting events, like in a baseball game. Like go mess it up, and we can gamble on that game and get money off of the end result. You know,
You're thinking. Now you're thinking. But also, can they leave locations just on command? Because if so, why are so many ghosts trapped in certain places? Why is she stuck in that library? Isn't she pissed about that, honestly? She didn't want that library to get that money. And now she's stuck there?
the ultimate troll by her father was like, "You didn't want this? Well, now you're stuck here. So suck it." Or maybe she's there because she hates the library so much that she wants to see its downfall, and it's been 100 years now, and over 100 years, and she's failed at it so far, and she can't do anything else.
Man, yeah, she's got to come up with some better ideas. There's a lot of books there. I'm pretty sure she could get some great ideas. She's had 100 years, and all she's doing is rearranging stuff, making one poor librarian's life not fun. Oh, damn, she
And she
hit
doesn't even
the.
change clothes.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, man, she hit the kids' books again. They're all over the place. I swear I cleaned up last night.
Okay, so 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 I searched Reddit for any actual stories from like people that went there, and there's really nothing concrete from anyone who's actually visited a library, and like had a story to tell. It's mostly just people over the years just tell them that this word of mouth they saw a ghost or whatever. However, because Reddit is Reddit, it brought me to a different story about a library in Texas, where an especially freaky story involving an elevator happened, and I will read that right now so you can get really spooked. And this one's a little more terrifying to me, in fact.
Can't wait. Thank you, Reddit, never letting us down.
So this was posted by Reddit user Ellen_Smithy. When I was 10, I lived in Southwest Texas, so already starting off really well. In Texas. It got so hot in the summer there that one day we literally fried an egg on the sidewalk. On this particular summer day, my mom had taken me and my friend to the library to get some books. We had finished our reading and picked our books and decided to play around with the elevator. There were only 2 floors, and one of us would go into the elevator, and as soon as the doors closed, the other would race down or up the stairs and try to beat the elevator. I was waiting on the second floor, and as it dinged, my friend took off running. But as I stood there, the doors opened, and the elevator was full of about 8 or 9 people. But they were all looking up at the numbers inside it, staring unblinkingly like Zen cows. Freaky as hell. There was a man at the front wearing a black 3-piece suit, gloves, a fedora, and a cane. Keep in mind, this is Texas during a 110-degree heat wave. He was gaunt, with a white mustache, and slightly resembled the guy in Needful Things. I don't know what the movie is or show is, so I have no idea the reference there. I'm sure it's a scary old man. He smiled wide when he saw me and said in a voice I'll never forget, "There's room for one more." I was freaked and said, "No thanks." The elevator doors closed, and as they closed, the man sort of tilted his hat. As I stood there in shock, my friend came back up the stairs, slightly winded, and said, "Hey, where were you?" I explained to him I couldn't use the elevator because it was packed full, and he said there was no one on the elevator. I've looked back on this often. What if I'd gotten in it? I have absolutely no clue what would have happened, and it's sort of frightening to me. I know how all of it sounds, but I swear to the higher power, this really happened.
Why did his friend just take off running, coming out of the elevator? I thought he was scared by all these people that joined him mid coming up.
Well, I think so. I think that they plan like where you call the elevator and it opens up, or it's supposed to open up. It's coming up the stairs. I guess it's like it dings, and then you run down the stairs to try to beat the other person down the stairs. And so his friend ran downstairs to beat him, and when it opened up downstairs, there was nobody in it.
Yeah, I was under the impression that the other kid was so scared they took off running. And I understand he's trying to play the game, but he had to come back and be like, "Where were you?" Uh, I was talking to the people that were in the elevator with you. You
So,
don't remember those people that rode up with you?
so two thoughts here. First off, good on that person for not getting in the elevator. Ghost or not, I will literally never get in a closed space with someone, or more than one person. Um, if they're lucky, max of two, and most times I'll just dick around the lobby, pretend to read the directory, and then when the doors close, go call a new elevator. And if I'm in the elevator, low key, I am just instantly pressing the close button until it closes. Even if someone's coming, I'm like, nope, nope, you got the next one, buddy. Not doing this. Uh, I have seen the movie Devil. It's basically there's 5 people in an elevator, and one of them is the devil. The elevator gets stuck, and the devil, spoiler alert, it's an old lady, kills the passengers one by one. And she kills them like the lights, elevator stops, lights turn off, come back on, one person's dead. And so, like, all 4 people remain, trying to like pinpoint who the killer is, and lights go off again, come back on, someone else is dead, and it's just the devil trying to steal the soul of one of the people in the elevator.
No, thanks. No, I actually, I know last week we talked about, wait, maybe it was last week, maybe it was the week before, we talked about the vampires, how that was coming up on my TikTok. And one of the stories was this, I want to say they were in California, but they were like EMTs of some sort, and they were riding an elevator and taking this lady to a new home, and it was like an old folks home type of situation, but they were like, we rode up, and she's like begging us, please don't take us here. And she's like, I don't know what's going on with her, but like I can't do anything, I'm just the transport, so like if I took her anywhere else, like I'm kidnapping. So they're like, I had no choice, like I had to take her to this building, and they drop her off, and they're going down the elevator, and it's just 2 floors, and it goes down to, it says basement, and so it goes down to this basement, and it's pitch black, and they could hear footsteps, and like the footsteps coming closer, and the doors closed right before that whatever it was or whoever it was made it to the elevator, and they went back up to the lobby floor, and they were like, I don't know what's going on with your elevator, but it took us down to the basement. And whoever they spoke with was like, we don't have a basement. And they said everything about this place was super weird, and it was like in with all of these vampire stories, but that was enough for me. No thank you. If you take me to an undisclosed floor, I don't think I'm ever riding an elevator again. I will forever be stairwells, and I don't feel safe about stairwells either, if I'm completely honest. Like, I better have like somebody who could beat somebody up with me, and somebody I can run faster than.
Yeah, no, I am choosing between the elevator with the devil or potentially going down to a basement where there is no basement. I'm definitely choosing the stairs.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm like, what was down there? Was it like a vampire? Who was it? They said that they could hear their footsteps approaching, and nope, that's nightmares.
Or was it hell?
Maybe.
Was it the gates of hell?
Is pitch
We'll
black
never
there?
know.
I cannot imagine an elevator opening up to pitch black. And then is that like, were they playing elevator games? I thought you have to have like a certain number of floors for that. Nah. Which that feels like another one that I wouldn't mess with. Like the Ouija boards and whatnot. No, thank you. Elevator game, no, thank you. I feel like the turning to a different dimension one, I would probably do that, but on accident. It doesn't feel that hard to switch dimensions just by making a series of right and left turns. I feel like I've already done that.
Walk down the street. Another dimension.
Yeah, well, they talk about
Uh,
when you do the elevator game that it's like it is clear you are not in your own realm.
like with the basement footsteps. Even if it's not a ghost, like what is someone doing down there in the pitch black? Like walking around. Like it can't be anything good. Like if it's not paranormal, it's you can fuck off. Like I'm not.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can stay in
no,
your
you're
basement.
no, thank you. I don't want to be in your basement with you. I actually saw something today that was like, when you realize that Peter Pan lures kids out their window to jump out and to never turn a different age again. And man, that's a dark view that makes a lot of sense.
In theory, if you're taking the fantastical thought, it's like yeah, it's great, but like, it sounds like they're just dying.
Yeah, they're just jumping out their window and going to Never Neverland to never age and hang out with him forever. That
Is
all everything's paranormal, isn't it?
does that make Peter Pan a siren then? Because he's luring them out to jump, and they can't control themselves.
Essentially, yeah.
Which on a side note from Peter Pan, so I don't know if you know this, they've already made like Winnie the Pooh horror movie. Obviously,
I haven't seen it, but I've heard that.
it's awful, but they're making a Peter Pan one. And I can't remember what Peter Pan like his storyline is, but Tinkerbell is like a crack addict who who hangs out with Peter Pan because he has crack or something. And I'm like,
Well,
these guys are getting crazy. Like this is getting ridiculous.
I did see another TikTok about Tinkerbell actually betrayed her own people for a boys for Peter Pan, and that they used all of the fairies from the type of fairy that she is and grinded them up into dust, and that's how they used to fly. And then he fell in love with Wendy, and that's why she's pissed off all the time. And it stacks. It makes too much sense.
You're going into the dark underbelly of Disney.
Yeah, and honestly, I can understand why she went to crack. Like she betrayed all of her own people. They grinded them up in dust, and now he's in love with someone else. That's bullshit.
So go back to our original story. We love our side quests here. Uh, with the elevator and full of 10 people, and his friend not seeing any of them. Um, so my second point is that like the elevator already sounds like super sketch as it is. He opens up and like there's a dude in there wearing a full suit in a 100-degree heat wave. Like if he's not a ghost, he's psycho. Like I'm not getting in there with him anyways. Even if he's a real person, no, I'm good, dude. I'm good. You'll probably just kill me. He's gonna slice my skin up, wear it as a suit. Like I'm good.
Yeah, no thanks. It's a hard no for me. And I feel like that's going to be the premise of my dreams
Hard to
tonight.
know.
Is going to be probably going up to an elevator. Where are we going? There's going to be somebody in there. Nope. Let's find that stairwell. Like the guy will be wearing the shirt that you're wearing because people in dreams are not supposed to have faces. I see it.
Everyone in my dreams has faces, I think. Next up is Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, which is the site of the famed and bloody battle from the Civil War. And this obviously was one of the bloodiest battles, and which claimed about 7,000 lives, 100 to 200 of which are still buried on the battlefield with no exact known whereabouts, either unknown or not disclosed to the public over concerns for vandalism. But since there's so many people that are buried or dead there or lost their lives there, it's no wonder there are so many reports of ghosts roaming the battlefields. In fact, my mom, as you may recall, claims that she's psychic. She had many a psychic encounters while she were there 20 years ago. One of which was we were visiting the section of Gettysburg where there's all those graves with no names on them. And she reported, or she told us that she heard people talking to her and gave us full names of two of the people that were talking to her. And as it turns out, one of the people that she named, and granted, I don't know how common the name was, happened to be on the missing, presumed dead list.
Wow. Did she talk back to them?
It was kind of like she was overhearing a conversation and also like chiming in.
Okay. I don't know how I would take that. Also, this was like 20 years ago. When did you go?
I went every year from like 2001 to like 2003.
Okay. I think we went in 2002, and it was me and my godmother took a trip across the United States in a minivan and hit a lot of historic sites. And we went to Gettysburg. I didn't really know the historical significance when I was 12. So being out in like, I think we went to like the grave sites, and that was more impactful. But going out to like the field and having stuff like roped off, and you could go to certain sections, and not knowing, like they said that there could be like live mines out there. And I guess even as you're telling that, I'm thinking about, were these people buried out there, or were there some people that, like, where they lay, they lay? Like, if you go through, would you see, like, could you find bone? That's so scary to me. But I remember seeing people out in these fields and thinking, are these real people? Like, now that I'm thinking back on it, because in that moment I didn't think this, but like, are those people real people, or was I seeing people that weren't really there? Was I seeing ghosts out there? And yeah, it was definitely a spooky feeling.
And that's the crazy thing. It's like, you think about it, there are so many reenactors out there that it's so hard to tell if they're like, from our time, or if you're seeing them from afar, like down the hill, like maybe they're ghosts. Like, are they really? And there've been reports of people saying that they watched a reenactment and like commenting on how wonderful it was, like leaving a positive review at the visitor center, and people were like, there was no reenactment today. Like, there's no one out there.
Yeah, that's what I feel like, is like that we had all these sectioned off areas, and just wondering, I feel like there were people out in the sectioned off areas, and were those real people? It's just, it almost feels like a dream thinking back and like remembering this in my mind, because I don't know. I wish I think I have a scrapbook with a bunch of pictures from that trip, and I wonder how much I have of Gettysburg, and if that can help put together some of the pieces. Like, what did I see that day? That was over half a lifetime, over 20 years ago.
And then you see like me in the background, just like.
I mean, even, yeah, I'm like, were we out there at the same time? You have to send a picture of you around 2002. I'll send you one of me from Gettysburg. I'm pretty sure we have to have at least something from that trip. And yeah, that, did we cross paths previously?
That's pretty wild to think about. Like, we might have.
There's this one person, oh, I can't think of what podcast or where it's from. I think it was somebody off TikTok, and she tells the story of this connection she had with this one guy growing up, that they went to several different schools, and vastly different areas. That this, I think it was his name Steve, and she just, people were like, "Is Steve your soulmate?" And she's like, "No, I'm actually happily married." And so he's happily married too, but it's just uncanny, like all the different ways that they have crossed paths, like even going to Disney World at the same time, and she had lost something, like a little notebook, and his mom had found it, and he's like, you're never gonna believe this, and like sent her this, like, I want to say it was like a little notebook or something, and she was like, I thought this was gone forever. And of course Steve would have it. Now I'm gonna have to find that TikTok, because it there, I just think there's so many connections in this world, but how cool would that be?
That would be wild. Like, I'm really curious. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
I know where
that's
my memory book is. We'll find it to at least prove or
um
disprove.
exactly exactly. While you were out there, did you happen to go to a place called Devil's Den?
No.
It's this little collection of rock formations that you can kind of explore and go around, go between. But a lot of people actually died there, and there have been a lot of, and not only did they die there, there was a site for where they would keep the dead bodies until they were buried or taken away. Um, and actually, some of the bodies never got buried; they just got like shoved down into like these crevices, and like they're down in between the rocks still to this day, um, which is terrifying.
Just what a terrible thing to
Uh,
have stuck in a crevice forever. Just imagining
that
that
would
as like
be
claustrophobic nightmare.
so because of the history of the area. This has been one of the most common sites that people have seen ghosts at Gettysburg. Um, in the 1970s, a woman was said to have gone into the information center to inquire about the possibility of ghosts on the battlefield. And when she asked why she wanted to know, she said she had been out in the battlefield that morning taking photographs. She stopped her car at Devil's Den and stated that she just raised the camera to her eye, took a photo of the sunrise, and sensed the feeling that someone was behind her. When she turned around, she was faced by a man. She described him as having long, dirty hair, ragged clothing, no shoes, and he asked her, "What you are looking for is over there," pointing behind her. The woman turned to see what he pointed at, and within seconds turned back, and he was gone.
What did he think she was looking for? That's so stressful.
Maybe
Like
his body,
I feel like maybe treasure, that could have been a really helpful ghost. But I also would be too scared to like, what what do you think I'm looking for?
right? A man with no shoes. So my dad actually went to Gettysburg College. That's where he graduated from, and he told me a story. I don't know how true it is. I could not find record of it anywhere online, but he said that one day, because they have security guards, obviously, who patrol the grounds at night, make sure no one's out there. And there was a security guard that had not reported back from duty for like hours on end, and had no radio communication back and forth between his car and the visitor center or wherever they had the rangers at. And when they sent out a squad to go get him, find out where he was, his car was parked at Devil's Den, and it was facing the boulder formation. And he was in his car, sitting there, just staring straight forward, and would not talk about what he saw. He left immediately. They got him out of there, and he quit the same day. And to this day, he has not said what he saw.
Does he know what he saw? It was like a
No one
system
knows.
reboot. I mean, yeah, even if I didn't remember anything and was sitting there just blanked out staring at something, I would also quit and probably never talk about it. But God, what did he see? What did his eyes see, even if it was too scary to process? That's terrifying.
Yeah.
But there's
Was
no record
it
of this?
Like, was it from this realm? No, this is straight from my dad's mouth, so I don't know how true it is. Granted, he's not a believer, so he would be less prone to make it up.
Yes, except for that one time that he talked into the tape recorder. I'll never forgive him for that.
Yeah,
But
I'll never forgive him. I told him that the day. I was like, Dad, I remember.
never forget. Never forget, Dad. But yeah, no, I feel like okay, so there's probably no record of this because it's from a different timeline. That's that's the only facts there that I got for that one. But that
Mandela.
is absolutely terrifying. Yeah. I think it's just your dad switched timelines and that was from a version of him that made one other decision or and probably died in that timeline and then came into his body in this one. Now I'm mixing a lot of different things together. But that's my theory. I'm sticking to it.
That is an excellent theory. So you mentioned helpful ghosts. Another tale from the same Devil's Den. And this is where like this tale is kind of blend together. So I'm not only going to tell you one because they're all kind of the same idea. But these hunters were lost, and I don't know why there's hunters on the grounds of Gettysburg, but they got lost somehow. And they saw an apparition standing on one of the largest boulders. And he was pointing to a specific area, which happened to be the way out, like the way they need to go to get, to their cars or whatever. And when they turned around to thank him, he was gone.
Okay, I appreciate how helpful he was being. I also, being who I am, I wouldn't be out there in the first place. But if I was out there and somebody pointed, especially an apparition, in a certain direction, I don't know that I would go that way. Thank goodness he was helpful. But yeah, that's the how not trusting I am. I'll get further out there, never to be seen again.
Yeah, not a chance. I would never. I would stay lost. No, thank you.
Yes, that's why you fill your car absolutely full of everything so that you can't actually pick up the hitchhiker should you see it. Because that is the safety
Well, then how
of
would
both
using that
hitchhikers and
logic?
bears.
So using that logic, how would we avoid seeing this ghost on the rock?
It's too late. You see the ghost on the rock, but do you trust the ghost or not? I probably wouldn't trust the ghost. I would be screwed because I didn't trust the helpful ghost. And the ghost would be sitting there like, I tried. I did my best. I pointed her in the right direction. She just doesn't listen. Yeah, then I would end up forever with the ghost and they would be the siren. They're not trying to be, but to contribute to me being there forever. And they'd be like, damn it. Somehow I got stuck with her forever. I tried to point you in the right direction. I'm sorry, I'm just not trusting.
Now, would you be pointing the other direction then? If you're the ghost now, like you're both together in Ghost World, like because you got stuck there and died. He points this way. Would you point this way?
I would probably just let him continue to try being helpful in case somebody else is smarter than me. I would be in the other direction to if he points in that direction and they go the other way like me so that I can move blah and then the person run back the other way. I'll take my chances with the guy that pointed the other way because that one's crazy. And then you get to be super mischievous. It's a win all around. Honestly, yeah, I like this scenario. Even though I died and I'm stuck at the fields forever.
Okay. So that is pretty much the stories I had for Gettysburg and the other ghost stories. I do have, again, I dove down into Reddit and I tried to find Gettysburg ghost stories and came out the other end with a different, entirely unrelated ghost story that I could read.
Perfect.
All right, so this one is by Reddit user 77greens, which sounds like a weed username. I don't know. I didn't look into it too much. Okay, so he says, or they say, long read. I've had several experiences, but the scariest one is this. I was 23 years old and working at a local flooring company. My boss had rented out a big ass warehouse at the train depot slash port center of Anchorage, Alaska. And it was a really old building. As you walk in, one of the first things you are met with is a giant round vault door around 6 feet in diameter, and to your left, that's really old and locked. An empty office and a short flight of stairs, about 10 steps down, that lead to the main warehouse area, where there is a rolling door on the complete other side of the warehouse and the power box across on the wall between there. I'm going to take a break because it's a lot of words that he just gave us. uh, Basically, I have to do a big triangle across an empty and next to a pitch black warehouse, other than dim backup lights every now and then. That just made it creepier. It's basically a really dark area. He has to go back and forth to like turn the power on, turn the lights on, all that nonsense, open the door. So the boss wanted me to go in, turn on the power and lights, and open the door for him. It's about 8 p.m. and we have a night gig to work across town, so we gotta hurry and load all of our tools and materials. He drops me off at the front door, and I go down the stairs and immediately feel creeped out as if I'm being watched. I shake it off and head to the power panel. As I'm about to get to it, I look down the warehouse to my left for some reason and swear I saw a shadowy silhouette of a man standing partially behind a support pillar looking at me. I flick the lights on and look back, and nothing is there. A bit freaked out, I hurry and open the door, and we load the stuff. He pulls out, I close the door, and we head back to turn the power off. As I'm walking back, out of my peripheral to my right, I see the man again, same man, by the same pillar, and look, but he was gone. He goes on and says, I try to play it off as my mind playing tricks on me because it's already creepy in there. So I turn off the power, and because I'm creeped out, I walk fast, my eyes darting side to side. I get to the stairs. As I'm putting my foot down on the first step, I hear a very loud smack right behind me as if someone clapped their hands really hard, and so I book it up the stairs. As I'm going up there, I can only describe as someone very heavy and wearing boots running up the stairs right behind me. I get to the top of the stairs and spin around, but there was nothing there. No one. I ran out the door, jumped into my boss's truck, and upon seeing my face, he says, "See, that's why I had you go in there. That place is fucking scary haunted." And they say, I'm not making this up. This is 100% happened and real.
There's a setup. He's like, I know what's in there. I'm not dealing with it. Good luck, kid. Nah. I cannot with all of the creepy footsteps. Yeah. No. First of all, I would be like, you know what? Lights aren't going out tonight. You guys, we're leaving the lights on. This is a Motel 6. No, thank you. And I can't get over that big vault door. Like, that sounds like some, like, Darkwing Duck kind of thing. I can't. No,
Like the
everything
big
about
like
this.
wheel.
Yeah. That, exactly. Like that, the small staircase. Nope. Nope. A big clap. Mm-mm. And then footsteps. I can't with the footsteps this week. Footsteps and elevators are going to be the theme of my nightmares tonight for sure.
Yeah, no, I remember as a kid, and I kind of still do it now. Like whenever you're like downstairs, I don't know if you had like stairs growing up as a kid, but I had like a huge basement staircase, and I would turn the light off downstairs and just like book it all the way up to my room. Like for some reason, running fast, I'm outrunning the ghost, but like I would never stay down there in the dark.
Yeah, I felt like we might have had a garage ghost or something when I was a kid. I was very scared. There were a couple of the stairs there going down into the garage, and I hated it. We had a can crusher out there, and no matter how cool the can crusher was, it wasn't cooler than going out and being terrified. Like, we spent as little time as just out, crush, boom, out of here. No thanks. I also watched The Poltergeist way too young, and so I also did the like run and jump on my bed because I didn't want any clowns to grab my ankles. Yeah, I did that for way too long, like into high school for sure.
Do you want to hear something really terrifying?
Yeah.
So I, as a kid, I would sleepwalk, and I'm sure my daughter is on the same path as me. I would sleepwalk all the time, and there was one night I sleptwalked, and I woke up in the basement, pitch black.
No, I hate that. That is terrifying. Was this Clayton days?
This was Clayton days. It was post Clayton.
No. Sign me out. Somebody's got to lock me in my room. That only has to happen once. How did you deal with that? Did it happen more than once?
I mean, most of my sleepwalking was like I would take my sheets and put it in the sink, try to wash them, or on a really really funny, kind of awful sleepwalk session, I almost peed on my brother's face. Like I woke up and I was like pants down, getting ready to pee, and like my dad like ran in like no 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 no, like diverted me away.
My God, that's hilarious. Okay, so sleepwalking wasn't it. There was a lot of different ups and downs, but man, that one time you end up in the dark basement. No, it's a hard no for me.
Never again. Nope. Never
Yeah,
again.
it'd be like somebody straitjacket me. I need to be stuck in my room. Bring on the sleep paralysis. You're so lucky to be here, Holden. I can't imagine how many
Uh
different lifetimes you did. This is terrifying. So lucky. I've never felt more fortunate in my life. Did not have a basement.
yeah, and not only was it a basement, it was an unfinished basement. So like it's even creepier.
Isn't that how it always goes? If it was a finished basement, this would never happen. This would never happen.
My damn parents, they should have finished that basement.
I mean, I feel like if we took a poll of how many basements actually do get finished, I just don't think it's a big thing that happens. Like most people give up probably because you don't belong down there. You don't know what's down.
But like on a side note, like yeah, basement's scary, but like I was once home alone and I was down in the living room, so the second floor, and my room was on the third floor, and I heard this like banging noise, like someone's pounding on the walls, going upstairs in my room, and I was the only one home. So like, I mean,
Colton.
basement or
Clayton.
upstairs.
If I don't have terrifying dreams because I keep calling him Colton, I don't know what's gonna happen. But was that Clayton days?
Yes, that was Clayton days. I feel like all my stories are post Clayton.
Yeah. How old were you when Clayton came about?
Probably like 10.
Okay. Man, everything scary happened after 10. I feel like everything scary that, well, except the helpful ghost is the newer thing, but it was all pre 10 for me. Like everything scary. But we lived in a really old house that used to be a funeral home when I was like 3 and under. Yeah. Down in San Diego.
Wait, what the hell?
Yeah. It was my grandparents. My grandpa took care of this older couple that they didn't have any kids. They had a bunch of like tenants. They had a bunch of old stuff that I used to go through all the time when I was a kid. And the husband passed away before I was born, but the wife passed away on my third birthday actually. And so that's how I know like those first 3 years it's a house on Steen Circle is what we were like the house on Steen Circle, and it used to be a funeral home prior to when John and Cecil owned it. And yeah, I feel like that is in my nightmares. I am always exploring this house and random doors I've never seen that actually didn't exist in that house, but I remember it pretty clearly for somebody who moved out around the age of 3.
No, no, absolutely not. No, thank you. No, nope,
Yep. I have a lot of sage. I feel like I've cleansed a lot because no thank you. But I do wonder a lot about those childhood years. There's a lot of questions. I'm hoping that was a different timeline though. One can hope.
Never know. We will we'll see everybody in the next episode. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I'm sure it'll be pretty spooky.
Yeah, we'll figure it out this week. It'll just come to us. It feels like everything just naturally progresses within the conversations after this, because you start talking about all the ghost stories. People start talking about what their theories on different verses are and timelines. Wild.
Yes, ma'am. All right, we'll see everyone next week.
See ya.